In the second subtopic, we're going to look at the life of Hashim. But first, in the first topic, when we're looking at the Quraysh, we said that after the death of Qusay, the leadership of Makkah was passed on to Abd Manaf. So Abd Manaf ruled for some time, okay, and then he also died, and the leadership of Makkah was passed on to his son by the name of Hashim bin Abdi Manaf. Now, on Abdi Manaf, there isn't so much to talk about because he ruled just like his father Qusay, and there is no any other discoveries that were made. But now we jump into Hashim first because Hashim is the founder of the clan of the Prophet, which is the Banu Hashim, the Hashimite clan, which is named after him, Hashim. So let us look at Hashim, the son of Abd Manaf. Now, we said the leadership came from Abd Manaf and was transitioned or taken over to the son Hashim. Now, Hashim was one of the greatest leaders of Makkah. Okay? Why? Because during his rule, remember, Makkah was one of the cities that was very, very respected because of trade. But he sat down and thought, other cities outside Makkah are nourishing every day. Every day they're becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Why is the reason for this? So he did his research and knew that most of the people outside Makkah in other cities, for example, Iraq and Egypt, they engaged in trade, but not only inside their city, no, but they could go outside for many months, going to other cities to do something we learned in history, which is called barter trade, to do exchange with the people of other places so that when they come back, they have something new that they didn't have in their own city. For example, in Makkah, let's say they were selling perfumes. This is just an example. So when someone comes from another place and Hashim sees this person has come from a place like, for example, Iraq, but the person is bearing gold. So Hashim thought, what if I go myself to Iraq and then I exchange my perfume with gold? So in exchange, I've given them perfume and I come back with gold. This gold is going to benefit the people of Makkah, and there is someone who cannot or who is not able to go to Iraq, but they will know that they can eventually find gold here in Makkah because I have shortened the journey to go to Iraq all the way and bring gold. I have gone there, I have exchanged with whatever I have, and I've brought gold near to my customer. So, in short, Hashim was a great entrepreneur. So, he talked about this idea of going to trade in other places with his people, the council of elders in Makkah, who didn't take it very, very well. So he decided to try by himself. So he took few people who were loyal to him, and they left for their first journey to the north, to Yemen. They went to Yemen for many, many months, traveling all the way to Yemen, and came back with a great cavalry bearing a lot of goods that they have exchanged in Yemen. So when the people saw this, they were convinced, and that is how the people in Makkah started now going for trade caravans to Yemen, to the north during summer, and during winter they could go to the south, to a place known as Syria. They could go during very harsh weather conditions. And remember, during this time that they were traveling, on the way, this is a desert, you could find very dangerous animals, leave alone scorpions. You could find very dangerous animals like poisonous snakes. But all this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was keeping them safe. That is why when we move forward and start the story of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you'll find that most of his haters during his early preaching, early mission of Islam were the Quraish. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was reminding them in Surah Al-Quraish about how he was protecting them when they were going for their journeys during the summer and winter. Shita'i was safe, okay? Summer and winter to Yemen and Syria. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was protecting them from even themselves. There were those people, those Arabs who were waiting for caravans and stealing from them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protecting them. He protected them from harsh weather conditions. He protected them from dangerous animals. So in Surah Al-Quraish, he was reminding them of how he was protecting them now when they were going against his prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you want to know more about tafsir of this surah, you can check it later on so that you understand very, very well about all the story of the journey of on winter and summer to Yemen and Syria. But now, what I want you to know, Hashim was the one that initiated these Quraysh trade caravans, summer to Syria and winter to Yemen, and reaching Mecca and making it a very big trade hub. So in one of his journey to Yemen, he passed through a place known as Yathrib. Yathrib, which is now known as Medina to Nabi, or just Medina, one of the greatest city in Saudi Arabia, the city of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when he passed through Yathrib, he saw a very beautiful woman by the name Salma, who was the daughter of Amir bin Zaid, coming from a very well-respected family. So Hashim was not married, and so he decided to ask for hand in marriage from the family of Salma, who accepted very, very happily because Hashim was very respected. He was humble. He was known all over Makkah to be a very, very great person, descendant of Nabi Ismail and Ibrahim alayhi salam. So he married Salma, but couldn't go with Salma back to Makkah because during that time, Makkah was, the weather in Makkah was very, very bad. It was time for winter, and Yathrib was better place for Salma to stay. So he was waiting for the right time when Makkah is favorable for him to bring his wife Salma so he could bring him to Makkah. They had together a son, but time didn't pass for so long when Hashim had traveled to Syria during winter, and it was at the time had traveled to Yemen during winter, and it was time when there was so much cold. So he died on the way coming back. So dying on the way coming back, that means the next person who was to take over as the leader of Makkah was Hashim's son. Now, before I continue, I've not mentioned the name of Hashim's son. I will come to mention the name of Hashim's son, which is known right now. But at that moment, the name that was given to Hashim's son was Shaybah, because some of his hair when he was born was gray and whitish. And so they named him Shaybah from the color of his hair, which means gray hair. So remember, when Hashim died, Shaybah was still of tender age. He was still very young, and so he couldn't take over as the leader of Makkah. So who took over as the leader of Makkah? The brother to Hashim, who is known as al-Muttalib. Al-Muttalib. So al-Muttalib took over as the leader of Makkah for the time being, as Shuaib still grows up. When Shuaib will become, Shaybah, when Shaybah will become of age, then Shaybah will take over from al-Muttalib. So also al-Muttalib kept visiting Yathrib once and again to see how his brother's son and Salma were doing. And also, he didn't forget that Shaybah was still his brother's son and the right leader of Makkah when he comes of age. So, fast forward, Shaybah eventually became a youth, and Al Muttalib thought that this is the right time for me to go and take Shaybah to bring him to Makkah so that he can grow up here in Makkah, knowing the culture of the Quraysh. When he becomes a leader, he will know how to lead his people. So he went and asked permission from Salma, who accepted, and Al Muttalib took Shaybah on his camel and went back to Makkah. Now, at that time, slavery was a very normal thing. And when someone left the city, went to another place, and came back with a boy, a young, energetic youth, most people most probably knew that that was a slave. So I want you to imagine the picture. Most of the people in Makkah, they see their leader coming inside the city with a young, strong youth, Shaybah, who they have never seen in their life before. What will they think? They will know that that is a slave. So Al-Muttalib has gone outside and he has found himself a very young, strong slave. So they knew that that was Al-Muttalib's slave. The word slave in Arabic is Abd. So they started calling Shaybah Abdul Muttalib, the slave of Al Muttalib. Hence the name Abdul Muttalib. So the name Shaybah was forgotten even after they realized that no, this is Hashim's son who was brought up outside Makkah in Yathrib. But the name had already fallen on many of Arabs' ears, and so they went by the name Abdul Muttalib instead of Shaybah. And that is how the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is known everywhere as Abdul Muttalib. That name came as a result of people knowing that he's the slave of Al Muttalib, the brother of Hashim. So Al-Muttalib, when he saw that Shaybah has become of age, he gave the leadership to Shaybah. So Shaybah became the leader of Makkah and he was loved very, very much, just like his uncle Al-Muttalib and just like his father Hashim. So what have we learned from this second subtopic? We have learned that after Qusay's death, leadership was passed to his son Abdul Manaf, then to his son Hashim, and Hashim was the one who initiated Quraish trade caravans, summer to Syria and winter to Yemen, enriching Mecca and making it a trade hub. Also, Hashim married Salma in Yathrib and they had a son, Shaybah, who was nicknamed Shaybah because of his gray hair. Shaybah was raised in Yathrib after Hashim's death during a caravan journey. After Hashim, his brother Al-Muttalib assumed his duties as the leader of Quraysh, who later on now gave the leadership to Abdul Muttalib or Shaybah when he became of age.